Have you been to the cross and said, Lord, I have sinned. I'm sorry for my sin. I'm willing to change my way of life.
Have you ever asked God for forgiveness? That's a tough question. I'm not sure I have. I don't bring God into that picture. I don't.
What's up, everybody? Major Retired Richard Ojeda here, and there's a new ad from Evangelicals for Harris. Yeah, you heard that right. Evangelicals supporting Kamala Harris. The ad's got Trump loyalists in a panic because apparently if just 20% of white born-again Christian evangelicals decide that they've had enough of Trump's nonsense and vote Democrat, he's toast. And honestly, it's about time they see the writing on the wall. Evangelicals are finally waking up to the fact that Trump's behavior, infidelity, lies, and all the divisive garbage runs completely counter to what Christianity is supposed to stand for. I mean, how much more of his chaos can these folks stomach before they start questioning their life choices? But it's not just evangelicals. Even the old school conservatives, the ones who actually cared about integrity, are jumping ship. They see voting for Harris as the only way to save what's left of conservatism.
A new piece out for the New York Times, David, titled "To Save Conservatism from Itself, I Am Voting for Harris." In it, David writes this: "There is a different and darker story to tell about Trump's first term. Our social fabric frayed. It's not just that abortions increased, the murder rates skyrocketed, drug overdose deaths hit new highs, marriage rates fell, and birth rates continued their long decline. Americans ended his term more divided than when it began. I'm often asked by Trump voters," David writes, "if I'm still conservative, and I respond that I can't vote for Trump precisely because I am conservative."
Let's be real, this isn't a regular election. Voting for Harris is more like an intervention to stop the GOP from going full MAGA cult.
That's why I said when Donald Trump was president, and people come up to me and go, "Oh, this is all about, ideology." I said, no, you don't understand. I said it's about respecting constitutional boundaries. We could survive 4 years of somebody who's very conservative or very liberal. Our problem here is someone who just doesn't respect constitutional boundaries and brags about being authoritarian to his supporters.
Now let's talk about Trump pretending to be a good Christian. You've seen him, right? Standing there holding up a Bible like it's a prop on one of his failed reality shows. But when he's asked basic questions about his faith, it's like watching a kid who didn't study for the test.
Old Testament guy or New Testament guy?
Probably equal. I think it's just an incredible, the whole Bible is an incredible, I joke very much so. They always hold up the Art of the Deal. I say my second favorite book of all time. But I just think the Bible is just something very special.
Remember when they asked him if he liked the Old Testament or the New Testament better? He might as well have said there were good people on both sides of the aisle. Classic dodge. And don't even get me started on when they pressed him to name his favorite Bible verse.
Okay. You mentioned the Bible. You've been talking about how it's your favorite book. And you said, I think last night in Iowa, some people are surprised that you say that. I'm wondering what one or two of your most favored Bible verses are, and why.
I wouldn't want to get into it because to me that's very personal. You know, when I talk about the Bible, it's very personal. So I don't want to get into verses. I don't want to get into.
There's no verse that means a lot to you that you think about or cite.
The Bible means a lot to me, but I don't want to get into specifics.
Even to cite a verse that
you
like.
No, I don't want to do that.
The man looked like he was trying to solve a Rubik's Cube for the first time. No amount of bravado is going to change the fact that Donald doesn't know squat about the Bible. The closest he gets to anything spiritual are those cringy memes where he's surrounded by a group of lunatic preachers with their hands on him, looking like they're trying to cast out a demon. If Trump could actually have a meaningful conversation about the Beatitudes or parables, we wouldn't even be talking about this. But here we are, watching a man who couldn't tell you the difference between the Good Samaritan and a good steak dinner, trying to sell himself as a man of faith. The reporter who asked Trump to elaborate on his faith wasn't trying to pin him down or hit him with a gotcha question. He was just looking for some validation, something that would make him believe Trump shared even a sliver of his beliefs. Instead, what did we get? A fool returning to his folly like a dog to its vomit. That's straight out of Proverbs, by the way. Something Trump would know if he could spell Proverbs, let alone pronounce 2 Corinthians correctly. Donald Trump is the ultimate poser, the walking definition of lip service. If he had a favorite Bible verse, he'd probably screw it up so bad it would sound something like this. And lo, the Lord said unto them, envy not your neighbor's crowd size, for it is better to walk a small company than to wander in circles, lost and grumble in a sagging diaper of pride, surrounded by a stench most foul. Seek not the approval of the masses, but cleanse thy ways and change thy garments often, you nasty jackaloon. Yeah, that's about as close as Trump would get to quoting scripture, by turning it into some bizarre rant about crowd sizes and diapers. And the sad part is his phony followers would probably eat it up like it's gospel truth. So there you have it. Evangelicals and conservatives, the very people who were supposed to be Trump's base, are now starting to see through the charade. Folks, they're realizing that this guy, who can't even name a single Bible verse without fumbling, has been playing them all along. And now, with Evangelicals for Harris gaining momentum, Trump's downfall is starting to look like an epic train wreck we all saw coming. That's the writing on the wall, folks, and that is an absolute fact. Sappers clear the way, airborne all the way.